Welcome to Empower English. I'm the founder and the teacher of Empower English. Let's get started. I think I have decided that I am not giving you point of view a grammar lesson because I think depends on your written English. Uh, this week actually a little bit late to make a record to record myself for the lesson, of course. And let's get started. Let's go. So first of all, I will read this story. Basically, I will tell you, not reading, but I will tell you the story, of course. Um, so let's get started. Nasreddin was friendly with most of his neighbors, but there was one woman who lived in his street who he had always disliked. She was too interested in other people's business and too ready to talk about it with others. She was always borrowing things from her neighbors and then, of course, forgetting to return them. This woman knew that Nasrani had a new robe in his shut, and one day she came to his door and asked to borrow it. Well, Nasrani said, "Before I lend you my robe, I must know what you want it for." I will explain everything in a minute. "One of our neighbors is cutting a big branch off the tree in my garden," she answered, "and he needs the rope to pull it down with, so that it doesn't fall off my roof. Doesn't he have a rope himself?" asked Nasreddin. "No, he doesn't have." And the woman said rudely, "Do you think I would have come here to get yours if he had one?" Nasreddin said nothing, but he went into his house. The women heard him talking to his wife, and a moment later he came out again. "I'm sorry," he said to the woman, "but I cannot lend you the rope just now. My wife is spreading flour on it." "Spreading flour on it?" the woman cried, sad in a surprise. "But how can anyone spread flour on a robe? Are you trying to make a fool out of me?" "Certainly not," Nasreddin said Nasreddin. "It is quite easy to spread flour on my road when I do not wish to lend it to someone." All right. So before I ask the questions, of course, I will explain a little bit of new words and some of the sentence structure here, and let's get started. So, and I use there, she was too interested in other people's business, which means other people's things, right? So business is not an actual business that for making the money, of course, not that. I mean, business sometimes is your concern, is your thing. Maybe it is your personal case. So that means that she was very interested in other people's business. She was interested in other people's uh, their personal cases. And too ready to talk about it with others means she basically gossiped, right? This is the idea. Shed is a place, kind of a small building for storing things that you don't need or maybe you need later. Shed, Shed. A rope is some kind of like a stream that is tough and kind of um, tough enough. Supra flour, uh, flour, right? Is something that we use to eat. For example, bread, right? Is made of flour, basically, right? So spread flour means put flowers. So it's kind of a funny story, but now it's time to ask the questions. There we go. So who was very friendly with most of his neighbors? Nasreddin, the guy, Nasreddin, right? Was friendly with most of his neighbors. Who was he friendly with? Well, most of his neighbors. Were most of his neighbors friendly with him too? Well, of course they were, right? They were also friendly with him too, right? But there was one woman, Edith Claus, who lived in his street, whom or who he had always disliked, hated, not communicating, not he didn't like, right? Basically communicating. All right. So, what about the women that lived or who lived in his street uh, that he had not liked, that he had hated? Well, that woman was not a good woman because she was always interested, right, in other businesses, and then she was always ready to talk. She liked to gossip, so it was the woman that he did not like. So, what kind of woman had Nasreddin not liked? Well, the woman that he had not liked was the one who lived in his street. It's kind of like his neighbor. Why did not he like about her? Or why did not he like her? The reason that he didn't like her was that because she was too interested in other people's business and ready to talk all the time about other personal cases. What was she doing also? Well, she was borrowing things from her neighbors. Was she always borrowing things or was she sometimes borrowing things from her neighbors? Well, she was borrowing things from her neighbors. Always. She was always borrowing things. Was she lending things to others? She was not lending. She was borrowing. She was using other people's help for her own cases, you can say, for her personal cases. But she was never ever lending. But she was the one borrowing other people's things. And even worse, she was forgetting to return them. So she never give back. This is the idea. So after she borrowed, right? She got the things that she needed. How was her habit? Her habit was not giving them again. Like her habit was not giving them, right? Things that she borrowed. She was always forgetting. Who was always forgetting to return the stuff that she borrowed? The woman who lived in his street, right? In Nasreddin's street, right? And then she was forgetting to return them. One day, this woman knew that Nasreddin had a new rope in his shed. One day, she came to his door and asked to borrow it. What did she do one day? Well, she asked him to borrow it. Who did she ask to borrow it? Well, she asked Nasreddin to borrow it. Who had a new rope in his shed? Well, Nasreddin had a new rope in his shed. When he had a new rope in his chest, she heard it, right? What did she do? She came and she tried to borrow it. And then Australia said, well, okay, I can lend you my rope, but before I do that, I must know what you want it for, why you want that. So that we can say in two ways, what's it for? Sometimes, right, people ask you a question like this, of course. Um, I have to know why you need it, why you want it. Well, in other words, you can say what you want that for. So what you want that for means why you want it. If you say what and for means why. This is the idea. So what did Nasreddin need to know before he lent? Before he lent, he needed to know that why she needed his rope. And she said, one of our neighbors is cutting a big branch of the tree in my garden. She said he needs a rope to pull it down with, so it doesn't fall on my roof, right? Um, so why does she need that? Well, one of her neighbors, right, is cutting. She said, one of my neighbors or our neighbors cutting a big branch, sorry, cutting a big branch of the tree in my garden. Whose garden? What's he doing? One of her neighbors. Or one of her neighbors in her garden, right, was cutting off or cutting a big branch of the tree. So did she need the rope or did one of her neighbors need the rope? One of her neighbors needed the rope, depending on what she said, or according to her. Now the story kind of a little bit advanced here, but guys, I never try to limit now anymore because I want you to hear the real English here. That's fine. Okay, let's keep going. So, what what kind of thing did one of her neighbors need, according to her? Well, according to her, he needed the rope to. Why did he need the rope? Well, to pull it down with, to pull down, basically. So Nasrani kind of he was surprised a little bit, so he asked, "Doesn't he have a rope?" And but the woman said rudely, "Do you think I would have come here to get yours if he had one? In other words, if he had one, do you think I will come here and ask you for a favor?" So she said rudely, very, very rude. She was a very, very rude woman. How did she reply when Nasrani asked, "Doesn't he have the rope or a rope?" She said, "Do you think I would have come here to get your rope if he had one?" So in other words, you can say, "Do you think I will come here, right? Do you think I came here to get yours if he had one?" Same, basic, the basic idea, basically. I will explain that a little bit here. Another lesson about there's a little bit grammar there, so I don't want to interrupt here. So let's keep going. So Nasrani, right? He said nothing. When the women replied to him rudely, did he say something polite? No, he didn't say something polite. He said nothing. But he went into his house, and the woman heard him talking to his wife. Right. So the woman heard Nasrani talking to his wife, and a moment later he came out again. So after the woman, right, replied to him rudely, what did he do? Well, he went into his house and he talked to his wife about this case. Did he want to lend the rope? No, seems like he did not want to lend the rope. So, did it take longer? Was it taking longer? No, just a moment, which means not longer enough. He came out again and he said, "I'm sorry, I cannot lend you the rope just now because my wife is spreading flour on it." Right. Spread here, uh, flour, right? Zhong, right? On it, on the rope. Zhong Puniable. It's kind of funny actually. Because the Australian was trying to find a way out to make it kind of a not to land the rope, his rope to her, basically. So what did he say to the woman? Well, he said, "My wife is spreading flour on it. I cannot lend you the rope. Sorry." Spreading flour on it? The woman cry means like says in a surprise. Sometimes cry is not the actual tears, right? Coming out of your eyes. Not that. Sometimes if you cry, you shout or you say something in a surprise. What did the woman cry about? Spreading flour on it? Right? That's what she crying about. How can anyone spread flour on a robe? Are you trying to make a fool out of me? Making a joke? Who thought that it was a joke to her? The woman who lived in his tree, right, thought that it was a joke to her. So, did she really believe that someone can spread flour on a rope the time that she needed, or the time that she needs here? Um, well, no, she didn't like that. She thought that it was kind of a trick or a joke to her because that somebody is spreading flour on it when she needs it, when someone needs it. That is a joke. And then Nasrani said, "Certainly not, right? So definitely not. Of course not." He said, "It's quite easy to spread flour on my road when I do not wish to learn it, when I do not want to learn it to someone." This is what Nasrani said. Um, all right. So did Nasrani want to lend that to the women who lived in his street, kind of like his neighbor? No. What did he do not to lend that to the women? Well, what he did was simple, that he told the women that his wife needed that for a while right now, this moment, to spread flour on it. So when he said that, what did the woman reply to him? Spreading flour on it? Are you making a fool out of me? Right. So she could not believe that that the time that she needed was the time that someone, especially Nasrani's wife, was spreading flour on it. All right. So another lesson will be about the grammar, basically. Now your level is good, so I need to explain some of the uh, sentence structure and how they are built and how they are uh, needed to learn by you, of course. So let's get started. See you in the next lesson. Good luck. Bye for now.